Hey everyone, welcome to C&C Board Game Factory. Actually, for real this time, because last live stream that we did was a misfire. My name is Chris.
And I am Cam, the guy who admits nothing went wrong. Or admits nothing. Nothing went wrong. I admit nothing, period, nothing went wrong.
I keep forgetting to switch. There's one Jordan from the No Keep Zone. When we do streams with him, he refers to it as my "Do you want to ruin your stream?" switch, yes or no. I keep forgetting to switch it to no. So yeah,
No!
I should actually have audio this time. Anyway, hey, welcome back. So Cam, today we did some good stuff. We tested out a tabletop sim thing that I put together, a prototype of the 100-day party. So we just played that.
Yeah. Yes.
We played it
And it was,
once together before, like 3-4 weeks ago or something like that, and then we haven't really touched it since. So I was really happy that I said, we made some tweaks. We should pull it out again.
yeah. Yes.
So how'd it go?
So, it was, I can't remember, did we talk about it much on the last time the last time we played, we talked about it on the cast, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit.
So for our listener, um, let's revisit so last time we talked about I think some things that we thought maybe we could do with the rules, and so Chris has tweaked a few things, and we got to play again today, and so the discussion is going to begin. I think last time I had one mechanics gripe and one vibe gripe, and I think the mechanics gripe has been almost entirely solved. So let's start with that. I was kind of the opinion that things were in the wrong place as far as like what cards stay in your tableau and what cards leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually now kind of have a slightly different thought on that. I think I had mentioned I think it kind of stinks that the diamonds leave and then like the fruit stayed, I think is what was how it was before.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
Well, playing today, it kind of struck me like you're allowed to play one card every turn, but you can play multiple cards if you're playing string together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sort of now of the opinion that any fruit you play should stay on the board, and the string should go. Just because I can't think for the life of me a reason to lay one card down at a time knowing it's going to get hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Because the points for building the diamonds are almost as good if you complete them, or better if you complete them within a round.
Yeah.
And if you don't quite finish it, you at least get to keep working on it. And then the fruit has to be different colors, and it can earn you a decent amount of points, but it won't earn you as many as those diamond cards.
Right.
My thoughts almost at this time playing were since you can play a bunch of the strings together, those should go, because then you're giving up less opportunity. There's less of a loss. If you put a bunch down and they, well, you didn't get that seventh one down or whatever, but at least you did it all in one turn.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't even know if it's that big of a problem with the string state. I almost am just the diamond cards and the fruit cards are kind of too samey. So why not amalgamize the two of them, and then maybe come up with an entirely new type of card.
And I wonder if that would make it easier to explain, right? Because
Yeah.
as stands, you have two different types of set collection that are very similar to each other, and that they're easy to come up with and they're easy to prototypize, but yeah, maybe I mean there could be something that would be more interesting. Have you played Sushi Go Party?
I have played Sushi Go, but not Sushi Go Party.
So we've been playing a lot of Sushi Go Party because our daughter turned 5 recently, and we've been gaming with her for dab on. So
Yeah.
we've been playing games with her for a long time, and so she really likes one from Game Right, also called Go Nuts for Donuts, where it's I guess similar weight to Sushi Go, But you have a lineup of cards, numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then everyone picks a number 1, 3, 3, and then flips it over at the same time. If you match, there's 2 3s out, 2 people pick 3, so the 3 gets discarded, goes away, and then the person who picked 1, gets their card. She's been at the age where she's actually been reading the cards now and understanding how they score points, and so we've had an in-shrink copy of Sushi Go Party because we were like, well, if we're going to play 2 players one day, we're going to play some other game. But now that our daughter can read and understand cards, we've been playing a lot of that. And the thing that impresses me about the design is the original Sushi Go is fantastic. No cards are similar to each other. In Sushi Go Party, you have 14, I think, different types of cards that you can pick 6 of them together, mash them up, and make a deck. And that's how you play your round of Sushi Go. And every one of them is still more distinct from each other than, to your point, we have the diamonds and the fruit, and they are quite similar. So I think that we could stretch a little bit more and come up with some better set collection ideas.
Like, I think you're getting there. Like, Sushi Go is a brilliant game because, like, it manages to be really fun at the same time as being really simple. So I really would like to play Party one of these days, because even just basic Sushi Go is so easy and also really good. Although I will say, during the pandemic, I've gotten to play a lot of Sushi Go with like kind of non-gamers on Board Game Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest thing, because I've had to explain this in multiple groups, is the concept of drafting. Because it's pretty easy to explain, like, when you're sitting at a table, but when you're not sitting at a table, it's like people's brains blow up. All new cards right now, it's like, because we're passing our hands left every turn. What do you mean? Like, all your cards, you get to pick one, and then all those cards go to the guy sitting next to you, and you get all the cards from the person sitting on the other side of you.
Right. Which I think one of the advantages of this game, of the 100-Day Party that we're working on, is that it is more of a classic card game, right? Draw a card or play a card type of a thing. And so I think that is... Not that Sushi Go is that hard to explain. If you're actually at a table, people get it a lot easier. But I also just like that feeling of, like, draw a card, play a card. That feel is really classic, really good.
I really like the way, so we talked about, like, changing the scoring for, like, if you make it to the end of, like, I like that those changes that have been made, because I think they work really nicely with the concept of playing 10 cakes and not getting to draw a card. But if you play 5 and just, like, edge somebody out, and then you get to draw a card and it's like the scoring card, which happened twice today.
That was unbelievable. Yeah,
it's super cool. Like, it's really, because, like, usually it's like, it's not going to benefit me too much to get slightly ahead, because that person's just going to get slightly ahead. But if I do it with a 5, and then, like, I'm just ahead right now, and we get to this, so, like, it becomes this really tense thing, which is the most exciting part of the game for me. And I think it's a good segue. If you're kind of done, are you kind of done mechanically on I think I think that's, like, the most compelling part of the game for me in terms of the vibe. So I think, like, once you build up the mechanics a little more, I think, what you want to capture is, like, the fun factor.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, some games are born fun, like you play them for the first time, before you understand it, you're just like, that's really good. So other games are like a slow burn where you play like 2 or 3 times, and you go, you know what, I actually really like this. And, like, a game can be, like, one of the best games ever, but anything, I think, of the complexity level of what you're working with, if it doesn't have, like, that, the first time you play it, it's not going to do as well. Because, like, what party game do you play, like, 5 times, and then you're like, oh, actually, I like this?
Yeah. Oh, now I see why it's a clever design. Yeah.
Game to have a ton of punch. Whereas, like, if you spend $60 on a big box game and it's been getting good reviews, and you're, like, lukewarm on it the first couple times, you're still willing to, like, go in and, like, be like, okay, I'll give it one more shot. And then now you've played it for, like, 6 hours, and you're like, oh, but, like, you never get that with because, like, I can start to see like the way things work together more on this game, like 2 times in. But if it doesn't have like that kapow, it's not gonna like get pulled off the shelf as much.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's talk kapow, because
yeah,
I think I agree. I think there's a few mechanical tweaks to happen still. Which cards, which cards get wiped at the first scoring card and then stay to the end or whatever. But yeah, I think the kapow is the thing we should talk about.
hey, speaking of which, it's really funny that I referred to the price of board games as being $60 because it's just not the case anymore. You remember when you first started playing board games and board games were $40?
Dude, yeah, and like 40, you're like, oh wow, $40. I don't know,
Yeah,
we'll see. Like I'll save up for it.
funny. That's only like twice as much as like Risk at that point. Well, I don't know. Maybe Risk was $12 or $15, but then board games became like $60, and then like you would look at one that was $65 and be like, why even? And now if a game's $60, you're like, pretty good.
Yeah, oh wow, good job. Yeah, Board and Dice have been doing a really good job keeping their MSRPs low. I think they are like $50, and I look at that and say, wow, can you believe you can get Teotihuacan for $50? Like that's
Yeah,
amazing.
probably 35-50 if you get it at a good time at a miniature market too. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, and
I
Fantasy Flight just announced their Descent Third Edition. Have you seen that?
know how much is it? $500.
It is a cube. Like the box is like a Ticket to Ride size box, right? But a cube of it tall. 175.
So let's take just a quick second to talk philosophy really quick, and then we'll go back into the kapow.
Yeah,
But my philosophy of buying games is if you're going to buy a bunch of games, you are justified if you. I think you're really justified if you buy a third of those games at MSRP at your FLGS. You know what I mean? I
sure.
think nobody's playing at you because like paying ticket price for board games like when you can get them at like 30% off the ticket price pretty much consistently on the internet, I think you're doing FLGS as a service if 1 out of 3 times you're like, okay, I'll pay the extra $15. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And I don't think that's the fault of the FLGS because they have to make a profit. They have to charge that. Where I think that you do need to. I think where this other stuff comes in is like I'm never going to make a mundane purchase online. Like I'm always going to get my dice at the game store. I'm always going to get my sleeves at the game store. If I'm into a trading card game, I'm going to do that there. And I know that adds up, but like those small like purchases I think are good.
Hmm.
I also, if I'm at like a board game night, at the game store, like I could bring like a beverage in for like $1, but I'll spend $2 for your beverage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Do those things that'll support them, and then a few of your bigger ticket purchases.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I also think it's a nice thing to buy like, occasional like if I'm going to buy like a tabletop RPG rule book, I'll probably suck it up and buy it at the FLGS cuz like I might buy one TTRPG rulebook per year.
Sure.
Um, but like board games, like if I'm buying 50 board games every year, like I'm gonna go broke if I buy them all at retail.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I feel like I'm watching Mr. Rogers, by the way. You're dropping some truth bombs on me, and you're just like putting on your sweater.
So I'm down in my basement, which is a really comfortable zone. Um, it it for whatever reason, like it gets more powerful heat down here than up there. It gets more powerful AC. And so like the problem I'm dealing with though is if my upstairs is perfectly regulated, I get less frequent blasts of heat down here and I am in a basement. So it's like right after the heat is done, it's like a little hotter than I want it.
Yeah.
I'll like take off something. And then like when the heat hasn't kicked on for a while, it starts getting chilly again. So
It's a good look for you, man. The Mr. Rogers.
yeah. But were we still filming? Like I think we were filming like while I took off my sweater.
I think that might have been the first take where no mistakes were made, but we had to delete the footage for no reason.
Anyway, let's talk
Yeah,
Zazz.
let's talk Kazaz Pow. Let's do it.
So this game I think needs like a punch, and I think it needs to be like. I don't think that you need to be like over the top, like really have to think of. I think anything you like artificially put in there just to be like, what if this would be happen and this would be crazy? I don't think it would work super well. But I think there just needs to be one more aspect to the game to make the gameplay like addictive.
Mm.
And I mean that in like the smallest sense of the word. That feeling you get when you want to play a game again right away. I think party games need that.
Sure.
And so like I don't know like what that particular thing is. The length is I think really nice on the game.
Right.
So like I think it just needs a twist somewhere. I don't exactly know where that twist is to make it so you're like, we gotta play that again. Are you kind of in the same boat as me on that?
I think so. As we were playing it today, turns are quick, which is good, right? So I never felt like I was waiting. What are you going to do, right? Like at most, you're playing a card or something like that. I just like being able to draw a card. Boom, turn's done, right? Ethnos does this so well, and so Sushi Go, it's quick paced and everything, and so yeah, there is something that as we were playing, I thought, I wonder what this game could use to make it more apparently up fun, because halfway through the game, halfway through the deck of cards, the scoring card flips over, and there's this big moment of, oh no, I wasn't ready for that yet. And I think that's kind of when you get that first punch of excitement. But there should be something a little bit more throughout that first half before you realize how short the time is that you have until it's going to start scoring.
Yeah, so I did just have a thought like of a kind of a neat concept that is really stupid, so I'm not even gonna say it now. But because it would just take up too much space. But like maybe having a little more control over like what's coming down the pipe would be neat. But I don't know how you do that without like I was envisioning like kind of setting up like a tableau of cards and then like unlocking them kind of not like pyramid style like Seven Wonders Duel, but kind of like, hey, we know where like the location of this like mid scoring is, and it's going to trigger as soon as like it's it's unlocked, but that would cause a lot of setup and confusion with rules, and so never mind.
That is something to consider, though. I mean, and maybe not even in this card game, but like a Seven Wonders Duel type pyramid or a Truffle Shuffle just came out, and that uses something like that too. And you can see where a scoring card is, and so you have to like, if you're not ready for it, you have to kind of pick cards away from it, around it and stuff. And someone's like trying to gun for it, but if you get too close to it, then another player's gonna Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if it would work with this one, but I like the idea a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to throw something out there, a thought that I had as we were testing this game out. There's a lot of games where on your turn you draw a card or you play one card, right? It's tried and true. It works. This might be a terrible idea, and you are free to tell me whether you think that it's even worth pursuing or not. But in the game, right, your turn, you can draw a card, or you can play one card, or the other little twist is you can play, if you have a lot of cards of the same color, you can play 5 black cards strung together as string, as a 5-length string. What if your basic play cards turn was play up to 2 cards? Do you think that would bog down the decision space too much and make it a slog, right? Or do you think that it could potentially invigorate the game where you every time that you choose to play cards instead of draw cards, it can be a more powerful turn?
I don't know if it'd be a slog. That's a good question. I think if you add that kind of thing in there, then you have to like rebalance everything. But I think that could be neat. I think it could also be neat where you could do two things, like you could draw two cards, play two cards, draw a card, and play a card, play
Hmm.
a card and draw a card. So that could be a cool concept.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
my fear would be though with like that, like not really knowing um, when that middle thing is going to come up, that like that could negatively affect like non-first players more frequently.
It could negatively affect non-first players. Help me understand.
Well, so what I'm saying is like, so since you're like sticking that middle card and the end card at like kind of a random spot in the middle,
Hmm.
um, the more stuff you get to do on your turn, the more adverse it is for a player who hasn't had as many turns as the first player.
Hmm.
In other words, like if in a two-player game, like you got one more turn than me that game, and I ended up winning, and I don't think it was like that huge of a deal.
Sure.
But like I could see a situation in like a three-player game or a four-player game where now you're essentially taking two turns every turn, and then you get two turns more than the essentially than the person, like than two of the players, and then like say it comes up right after your thing, at the end of the game too. Now you've gotten two more turns than every other player for
Hmm.
the second part of the game too. Well, no, because it wouldn't be like that because like you would just continue in the circle. So
Yeah.
in the second half, everybody would have gotten the same amount of turns. So never mind. It's probably not that big of a deal.
It does
But
feel like a deal, and people will feel
it could
that.
have an effect on the mid scoring. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
like that's the thing I maybe get too worked up over. Like I really, really, really like when games have the same amount of turns for every player.
Sure. The
Because then
mid-game
there's
scoring card flips over, and you say finish the round and then
yeah,
score.
there's never any thought like this was a 2 point game and this person got one more turn than me. You know,
Hmm.
uh, I've never really loved that. And like Josh still gives me a hard time about like complaining about going last like in a four-player game of Trois, but um, like the fact is some games like they just didn't feel the need to balance like you don't get anything for going last, but there's no competition when you get to take the first turn, and then like if you have to like jockey for turn order, um, and like you have to give up some of your like capital in the game to do so. If you go last, you're at a disadvantage for the entire game because of it. Um,
Right.
I don't think that's a huge deal in party games, so I don't know, but I think it is a huge deal when you're writing like a major game. So like, which you can really alleviate by either, always kicking the turn order around. Um, I think we all know that like some game. I think the best games have a turn order in which you have to give up some capital to, move the turn order. But the person who goes last the first round either starts closer to going first the next round or gets something to like offset what like their opportunity lost for going last. And I think that's much better than just passing a button. Because
Mm.
even if you pass a button, having the advantage in turn one in a game is better than having the advantage in the fourth turn of the game. Or the best of all worlds is a game in which turn order doesn't really matter, you know,
Sure.
uh, or that there's pros and cons to each. Like Concordia, I think the turn order thing is great because like there's pros to going first. There's also pros to going last. Um, but it's because of what you start with as the last player. So,
Right.
um, so anyway, that's my diatribe on
On
stuff we're
turn
not.
order.
Yeah,
On stuff that's not really relevant to like a small little sloughing, card sloughing game.
yeah,
All right. But yeah, yeah, in terms of like that punchiness that a game like this would need, that 100-day party would need to just kind of take off up front. I don't know. That I think that'll be a good mystery to kind of think over for a little bit.
yeah. And so like we definitely can work on that.
Yeah.
I'm looking, and it's about 4:15. I know we haven't been recording a super long time today. But it's honestly like a pretty good time for me to like kind of get on with the day.
And I think it's good. I think we've talked about what we need to for 100-day party.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. I think it's a really good idea, and I think that congratulations on recently having a 100-day times 5 times 3.65 or 3.65 day party for your daughter, and so there you go.
There you go. All right, man. Cool. Well, I think that, yeah, this is a good time to wrap up. So anyway, my name is C&C, and this is the Chris Podcast.
And my name is C Factory, and you've been listening to the Chris Podcast, member of the Dice Tower Network.
No.
We get that back because you're a member of the Dice Tower Network, right?
By association, everything I do is a member of the Dice Tower. My lunch is a member of the Dice Tower Network.
There you go. Should I be wearing like a hat of some kind?
Yeah.